Take me back to Janky Town. I want to get back to Janky Town. Tell me about New York City and getting your ass kicked. I feel like we've talked about this off camera a little bit. This phenomenon.
Yeah, well, I moved there just out of school, and I basically had it in mind that I was going to, I don't know, just start playing music, and that just somehow by the act of playing music, it would just, there was almost this magnetic effect where, well, first I'm going to play a show for 5 people, and then the next show will just be 10, and then I'll go from there until like 100, 200. And I think a lot of people, especially young people, go in thinking that it happens, but what usually happens is you play to 5 people, and then you play to 5 people, and then you play to 5 people, and then you play to 5 people. Then you might throw like a 0 in there. And then you might get an odd like 12, and then that's pretty much that. Unless there's some intervening force.
Or you play a show and you get booked, and then the promoter just says there's not time on the bill for you, and then tells you to call him later, and he'll set up another show for you, and then and then tells you to call a different guy who's his buddy that's gonna set.
Yeah, you got a taste of it.
Well, no, that actually happened with you and me.
Oh yeah.
What's that dude's name? Should say it on air. Fred.
Yeah, it was.
Remember Fred?
I mean, I think I tried to flesh that. Yeah, I mean, I've played a variety of shows, and the shows I've put together have been fun. The shows I've organized. So I kind of found my way, and the attendance sort of became secondary, and the quality of the show sort of came to the forefront. But anyway, not to get too narrow. Yeah, I'm getting my ass kicked in New York City. Yeah, just having expectations. I think coming from a small town and
Janky Town.
Yeah. Having more or less all of my goals met or given to me just by being, a beneficiary of this upper middle class kind of bucolic society. I don't think my...
Are you speaking of America's Most Perfect Village?
Yeah, the most perfect. Full disclosure, I grew up not in but near America's Most Perfect Village. So if you kind of think of it in terms of like rippling out from the most perfection, I don't know where I was, if it was perfect.
It was fairly perfect.
Or if it was janky.
It was perfect. It was perfect adjacent.
Yeah, it was perfect. So, yeah.
Did you grow? Is it Westford or Westville?
Westville.
I always get this wrong. So what's Westford?
I don't know.
There's not a Westford?
I think there probably is, but I'm not. The Westvillians kind of don't have anything to do with them.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't like to be confused with them.
I do it all. It's my biggest.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So yeah, I think getting your ass kicked in New York City is all has to do with expectations. And I don't think it would seem unusual for me to move to the city without big expectations, because usually it's going to be difficult and expensive, and I think in most people's minds they have a goal that justifies that. Well, I may, give 70% of my income to this like slumlord and live in a box and not have privacy and etc. But I'm gonna become XYZ, in Broadway, or I think it's an extreme place and it attracts extreme ideas and extreme people.
But do you think that's New York for everybody? I mean, that's like the Alicia Keys version of New York for sure. But do you think there's a lot of...
I don't know. I mean, there could be a more like business class version of that, where it's like, well, they might be thinking in terms of salary.
Or I'm thinking of like an expatriate community too. Like there's so much.
Sure. Yeah.
well, specifically ethnic diversity in New York. I don't know enough about,
Mm-hmm.
the inner workings and economic status of people there, but it seems like, how many people are there by choice and how many people are there by circumstance, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it has so much history with immigration and with Ellis Island, and I think New York City has always been a shiny object, and I think people coming into the United States saw the city coming into, and I think it represented. I think it's always represented in in the best version of maybe what you could accomplish for immigrants.
If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. But then again, a lot of people came into Ellis Island and then kept going and ended up in other places. So I don't know to what extent my life there can be paralleled in the general sense, but I would guess that most people that you talk to about New York City, they had an idea of what it was going to be like, and either that idea manifested in an amazing way beyond their imagination, or they sort of settled and they're like kind of had to find the good and the bad and adapt.
So is that your experience? There's like sort of a leveling out, but you end up appreciating your stability in a way that you might not.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
is there like there's like a built-in gold star for even just having a basic working lifestyle in New York City?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the fact that I live and that, I by no means wealthy, but I do save money and live to see another day there. And I do work in a music studio, so it's not like my musical aspirations just like completely, turned into shit.